Sonoma Sideshow.
All right, welcome to Sonoma Sideshow. I'm your host, Les, the Snowman Kinnear. A very special show tonight. We have the one, the only, my compadre, my right-hand man, my work wife, Joe Byrnes.
Hello, sir. Thank you for having me on.
Welcome to the show.
I'm excited about this, man. I really am.
We're actually doing something new tonight.
We are.
We've changed the intro song, so this is a brand new intro song.
I dig it.
And then we're just doing this live in the studio. We're just going to go for it. I didn't have time to write up. I just had an opportunity to interview you, and I thought...
I'm all about that. You know me.
All right.
Spontaneity is my friend.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start the ball rolling then. Well, Joe, thank you very much for being on the show tonight.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
I'm stoked. You're probably one of the strangest cats I've ever known, besides myself. And I mean that with love, really.
Yeah, no, totally. I totally accept that as a compliment.
So, tonight I thought we would just kind of spitball it and wing it. And I think it would be important for you to at least Reader's Digest kind of walk us up to today with your life. You know, what kind of where you've been.
Oh, yeah,
and where you're headed,
yeah,
and then we'll get into some more particulars after that.
So, I'm homegrown, born and raised in Eastern Oregon. Went to high school, grade school in Pilot Rock. After high school, I went to college in Pendleton for a couple of years, and then transferred down to Monmouth, Oregon, Western Oregon University. Go Wolves!
Yeah. My daughter graduated there, so you two have something.
My nephew Devin's about to graduate from there too.
Awesome.
So, yeah, great school. My wife graduated from there as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really in the family.
It really is. And anywho, so went there for a couple of years. Had a lot of fun down there. Played music. Got to play some intramural sports. Made some great lifelong friends. And anyway, ended up graduating with a psych degree.
That fits you just perfect.
Yeah, I know, right? It's like I couldn't do anything technical.
If I knew you had a degree, but you didn't tell me, and you said,
"Yeah,
Les, what degree do you think I have?" I would be like, "It's got to be something like psychology or."
Yeah. So yeah, but in all honesty, I picked psychology because it is fascinating. Don't get me wrong. The human mind is absolutely just amazing when you think about what it's capable of, what it's capable of creating. But mostly because it was one of those degrees that just seemed a little bit easier for me to obtain.
I thank you for your honesty today.
Yeah, no problem. I had a very nonchalant approach to high school. I guess you could say I was gifted academically. Meaning
so you're the guy that could screw off and get good grades.
Essentially. Yeah, I know it. So I got kind of, first couple years of high school, I was pretty invested and did a lot of stuff. Junior and senior year, I got fairly lazy. Outside of, extracurricular stuff like sports and theater and pep band, things like that. But, when it came to like classes, I think, I was pretty much done my junior year. Mid-junior year, I had all everything I needed, and then just did like the 2 required senior classes my senior year, and then
bunch of shop classes.
Pretty much, yeah. I think I TA'd.
I was good at shop, but
I think I TA'd for Mrs. Tester, and then had like a free period where I just hung out in the band room and played drums or guitar for hours or slept.
Nice.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. But anyway, I kind of took that approach with me when I went to college, and it, especially the first couple of years when I was working on my transfer degree, kind of this, I'll just do everything ahead of time and just coast the rest of the way or whatever. And well, no, you can't really do that because you have to show up to class and you have to study because it's all on your exams and everything. There's really not much homework. And
right.
So needless to say, I didn't get that far behind in school. It was just I had to in order for me to graduate in a
Were you on the
timeline.
Were you on the 5-year plan or?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I didn't get my bachelor's in 4. I got it in 4 and 2 terms. 4 years and 2 terms. But yeah, I had to really kind of buckle down. So I did have a lot of fun at college, but I did have to buckle down a little bit while I was finishing up, and ended up. I mean, I wasn't magna cum laude or anything, but I graduated, I think, with like a B average, B minus average, something like that.
Yeah.
Which ain't bad.
No, and you it's not like you took a bunch of cake classes though. Come on.
Yeah. No, the research classes were hard. They really challenged me, for sure. And any of the classes that were that dealt with like, where I had to do research, or I had to do statistics, or I had to measure something or monitor or something like that, that would grab my attention more so than the class where the answers were kind of up to my interpretation.
Yeah.
Those ones I kind of put to the back burner. It's like, I don't really care. I like facts and statistics. This is what I'm into. And
yeah.
But in the end, it all worked out pretty good. So graduated college. Did not start out in any field near psychology.
Mm-hmm.
In all honesty, I went to work right out of college for the family company. Dad's not the oil delivery side, but the construction side. And in the event that I would continually be looking for something to put my degree to use, and I think the first job that I applied to fresh out of college, outside of working for Dad, was a correctional counselor at the local prison. And I was, I submitted everything, my transcripts and all that, and immediately was told did not have the experience. So it was back to the drawing board for me. I think I ended up staying with Dad for a little over 3 years. And in that time, I did get a job as a part-time drug and alcohol rehab counselor with the county. And it kind of came to a point where work was picking up with Dad's company, and my part-time work was kind of starting to interfere with the work that I was doing with him. And he was being supportive, and like, I understand this is what your degree's for, but you need to make a choice. Do you need to commit to them or commit to this, because I got to get this job done.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and talked to them, and at the time I said, hey, is there any chance you can make this gig full time? And they said, no, we don't have it in the budget right now. So I said, okay, thank you. I'll have to resign my position then. So lost out on that one, which is fine. That's not really the psychological direction I want to go anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So sorry. Yeah.
No problem. But so got a little bit of counseling under my belt, and then I guess my big break, or so you could call it, or my entrance into my field was I got hired as the mental health tech at the local state hospital, which was definitely a new experience for me. I was used to swinging hammers and shovels and running backhoes and jackhammers and things like that, and now I'm having to use words to de-escalate, and I'm having to remember that if I do go hands-on, that it has to be with the least force possible and all that stuff. And there's a lot more. And then of course there's the humanistic side to it of providing the therapy. And it was all new, and it was a great experience for me. And I was able to use some of what I learned in school, but let's be honest. I mean, you can study as much as you want to study, but you have to experience it to really understand
real life stuff.
Yeah, the depths of it. You learn things about those suffering in the mental health field.
Mm-hmm.
You learn that a lot of it is due to trauma. You learn a lot of it is due to substance abuse. You learn a lot of it is chemical things, or it's you just learn the ugly side of it, and it's really heartbreaking at times.
Yeah.
And it's such a failing thing. I feel like not in our area per se. I mean, I feel like Umatilla County, Pendleton area does the best they can for the folks, suffering from that.
Sure.
But for the state as a whole,
yeah,
I'm not, Anyway, I'm going down a different rabbit hole here.
That's another episode.
That's another episode. Joe's gripes.
Yeah.
What the deuce? So worked there a couple years, I think, or just a shade under 2 years, and then hopped over to corrections as a corrections officer. Didn't finish out my year before I hired on as a investigator with DHS, and I did that for about 5 years, and then now I'm an investigator with DOC again.
Nice. Okay.
And trying to become a counselor.
Right.
So it's I'm kind of back at square one, I feel like, with trying to utilize my degree. I'm at that point in my, it's like I need to do something with it, or I'm going to have to go a different route. So
life is cyclical, right? Just seems
it
like
really
everything.
is. It really is.
So then
I was born bald.
Yeah, and now is that how you would describe yourself?
Thinning.
Yeah, no,
Thinning.
I would say less than.
Yeah, less than a full head of hair.
Yeah, right, but that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, you get ready quicker.
That is true.
And it looks like most of it went to your chin because you do have an impressive beard.
I thank you. I grow that because I have a non-impressive chin.
Oh, yeah. I've got the little gullet myself.
Yeah, is that what you call yours?
Yeah, the gullet.
Right on. I just call mine my check.
Yeah.
Chin, neck, or nick.
Check.
Or nin. My nin.
So
Straight down to my collarbone.
No. So
Like Jeff Daniels.
You're married?
I am.
3 beautiful children?
Yes. Adelaide, Eliana, and Coraline.
Okay.
I'm
What are
a
their
father.
ages?
11, 7, and 2.
Whoa.
Yeah, bro.
You got your hands full.
Oh, you ain't kidding. I mean, yeah, and they're all girls, obviously, if the names didn't give that away. But, yeah, I am a father to 3 beautiful daughters, and I'm scared for what's to come. I will be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, you have daughters.
Yes.
You have 2 daughters. I mean, and beautiful daughters at that. And I only imagine what you went through when they started transitioning to that teenage years. And
I mean, if any advice I would give is just avoidance. Just don't deal with it.
Yeah, leave it for mom.
Turn your head and walk the other way.
Yeah.
It's just too much for us as cavemen to absorb and download on how to do. I mean, I'm just being honest.
Yeah. No.
Thank God just like you, I married somebody who was much better at everything than I am. And
yes,
so.
that is a very true statement. I am functionally, dumb, without some sort of poke or prod from my better half.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
no, I totally get that. But got
so
the 3 girls. We oldest one just experienced basketball for the first time. Loved
Youth
it.
Sports.
Yeah, loved it. I was so proud. I got to help coach her team.
Oh, yeah, that is fun.
It was a great time. And my middle one, Eliana, she is my spunky creative one.
Yeah.
She's smart. She's smarter than I am, for one. And is so far ahead in school that she's just bored. But her ideas, and she likes to beatbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, she likes to sing. Yeah, she likes the boots and cats. But boots and cats, boots and cats, boots and cats. Yeah. That's what she says.
I like it.
Yeah. But she's artistic. They're all very creative, and Cora lives in princess dresses and loves to sing and dance. I mean,
right.
It's a blessing. It really is. Do they try every ounce of my being? Yes, they do. On a constant basis, but it's all worth it, I think.
All right.
They're fun. They're
So,
they're cute and sweet, but
yeah, exactly. And so that leads you to with this beautiful family and your career.
yeah.
Obviously, you have you're would it be fair to say middle-ish aged? Middle-ish aged?
Yeah,
Middle-aged?
I'm 38 years old.
Okay. So, you're living the dream right now. And
I'm comfortable. I'm very both
comfortably numb?
No.
Okay.
But both figuratively and literally comfortable. This is a very comfy chair I'm sitting in.
Oh.
And I'm comfortable with my position.
Okay. Well, you know, we know each other, of course, and that's why I asked you on the show, because you have a lot of hobbies.
I do.
I do. That was kind of your life, who you are, but another part of who you are is a jack of all trades, a real Renaissance man. And and I could do an episode on just about everything, because I thought we could talk coaching, because you do a lot of sports stuff, but then I was like, well, you know, and then music, you're a musician, or we could do some, you know, talk about the more of the arts, actual functional artwork, you know, doing stuff. But I thought tonight what we would do is touch mostly on your music, because I've been getting a lot of musicians on the show, and I kind of just sticking with that theme. So, you know, you in the same thing, just kind of. I was 14, I got my guitar, and then next thing you know, I'm in a band, and then blah, 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 and then kind of lead it to where you're at with it right now.
Okay, yeah, no, music has always, for as far back as I can remember, I've always incorporated music in everything I've done. I mean, I loved it as a kid, listening to it. I can remember being 5, 6 years old, going down in the basement of our house, or my parents' house, and they had an 8-track player, and they had all these different 8-tracks. And I remember I loved Kokomo from the Beach Boys. I would put that on, and it just would almost like lull me to sleep. It was just so beautiful.
Yeah,
just a beautiful song, man.
Really?
That one, they had that, and then there was, you know, some rock in there. I think there was there was some Foreigner. There was a couple Foreigner 8-tracks in there. Yep. I think there was some Who, you know, things like that. Some, you know, more rock and roll, and it just I love the sound of it. I love the sound of guitar. And my aunt, my uncle, my aunt's husband, lived in Washington, and we'd go visit them, and he would usually take me and Dad to hockey games up there. And but he played in a band, and he had this really cool white Fender Stratocaster. Oh yeah. And he'd let me, and you know, when I go over there, he'd let me, you know, play, and he'd show me a note or two, and I always that was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to play.
That was the seed right there.
Yeah, I wanted to play some kind of an instrument. So the first opportunity to play an instrument, of course, came in grade school, and you could pick an instrument to play, and you know, we were limited. It was pilot rock, and so I picked trumpet.
Or a stick.
Yeah, it was like, you know, it's like, really, I want to learn percussion.
Yeah.
So I picked trumpet, and surprisingly picked it up and learned it pretty quick. And so did there's another guy, another kid in my class, Dave, who also was. Dave was like kind of a musical savant. He could pick up anything and play it. But he and I both really got into playing trumpet together, and so I remember, I think it was we were in 4th grade, and he and I were first chair trumpets, and we were doing the Superman theme, and so we were first trumpets on that, and we got to stand up and like do
that. Must have been amazing,
dude. It was awesome.
And that's kind of your first taste of the light being on you, playing music.
Yeah, it really is. So to kind of fast forward from there, you know, I played trumpet all through grade school, and then through, you know, 7th and 8th grade, and then in 8th grade, I don't want to say his name because he's really not that good of a person, but there was the pep band drummer, and he would just play so fast and so loud, and it was just a blistering speed, and wipe out. Oh my God. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever, watching, you know, all the high school drummers play Wipeout. But this one in particular really got me interested in playing, because I'm like, I think I can do that. And I think I can do it better. So I kind of took an
without even knowing. You just felt like that.
Yeah. Without even knowing, calling, right? Yeah. And so I just kind of took an interest, and I always had an interest in guitar, and I plucked around on a few. And I think the summer before my 8th grade and freshman year, my parents bought me a dime store guitar, electric guitar. But around that same time, I really took an interest in drums. But, you know, let's face it, drums are a hell of a lot harder to get into your bedroom and to keep quiet.
Right, yeah.
You know, a guitar you can play quietly.
And expensive.
Yes. But anyway, so I believe it was my mid-freshman year, I finally convinced my mom to let me get a drum set.
Mm-hmm.
And we put it down in the basement, and I would just put on my headphones, and I would just try and follow the patterns that I was hearing through my headphones. Mostly listening to Metallica, Godsmack. I wasn't about to attempt any Tool, even though I love Tool.
Understatement.
Yeah. A lot of hard rock and heavy metal I was listening to, and so I started picking it up, and around the same time I was learning those guitar riffs too. So about my mid-sophomore year, I started thinking, and mind you, I've been self-taught.
Right.
This whole thing. I haven't had a music lesson one at this point.
Right.
But anywho, so there we go. That's better. So anyway, about mid-sophomore year, I started thinking to myself, it's like, well, isn't a bass just the bottom four strings of a guitar? But just, tuned lower. I mean, I knew how to tune a guitar, but I knew nothing about like alternate tunings. I knew nothing about like proper setup and, setting up your bridge and all your pickups and your settings and everything like that. I knew nothing, but I just thought, hey, it's the bottom four strings, the same, right? So I thought, well, maybe I should learn to play bass too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did. I found a cheap bass that I think the school had that, it worked, but it only had one channel, and it was awful, but it was a bass.
Mm-hmm.
And I figured out how to play scales on that, and jammed with a few different guys throughout high school. I think I got together with some high school guys, and then the drummer was a teacher,
mm-hmm.
and we put together a little. It was like a 45-minute show for one of the school dances, and that we did, and it was like, we sang some original songs. Most of them were covers and rock songs, things like that. And that was kind of like my first real big performance, I guess you could say. Yeah. Because the gym was packed. It was a school dance.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's at least 60 people.
For anybody who, 60. For anybody who, if you've not played in front of a huge group, that's
right.
It's not as easy as it sounds.
I know. It really isn't. But the cool thing about it is I've been in theater since 8th grade. Mm-hmm. I was able to be in my first play in 8th grade, and then I just did it all the way through high school. I loved it. So getting in front of people and performing, or talking or doing something outside of just standing there was normal for me. But this is my first time like really getting in front of them and going for it, playing guitar and singing and screaming and all that stuff, and it just felt natural. Yeah. It really did. And anyway, so all the guys that were a part of that, we've all gone our separate ways, and some of them, we all kind of kept with music and somewhat. Like I know Eric and Dave, Eric played bass, David played bass and Eric played the other guitar, and they grouped up and had a band together for quite a while. That was pretty successful, I think. Good too, that they had some music released on Spotify that I was jamming to for quite a while. But
nice.
Anyway, I don't know what happened to Mr. Moraes. He was a good drummer. He was classically taught. I mean, he was trained in drums from smooth jazz to death metal. I mean, this dude could play anything. He was weird, almost kind of creepy weird. But so fast forward a little bit, through college, I would jam here or there. Never really had a band. My first real band outside of, playing out in the basement was in Western when I was going to school at Western.
Yeah.
And we were called Elusive Ground. And we were kind of a thrash metal / power metal, real heavy distorted guitars, fast drums, real growling, screaming vocals, things like that, good stuff. And anyway, that was my first, band with guys that I just met,
mm-hmm.
through an ad, auditioned for them, got the gig. I was the vocalist and played a little bit of guitar when we needed me to, but most of the time I just did vocals. Got to play, up in Portland a few times, played in Eugene, played in Salem, I believe a few other spots. Did a few recordings, nothing big, never signed or anything, but, it was fun. It was, everything was all original. We didn't do covers. And every once in a while we get a decent sized crowd that would show up. Usually there to see a different band, but
Right.
we're lucky enough to see us, and we usually left folks feeling pretty entertained. I felt like anyway, but anyway, and then of course graduation comes around and it's time to face reality, and I wasn't ready to live in a studio apartment with a bunch of dudes eating bologna sandwiches trying to make it big in music.
No.
I knew I had a job ready. I had priorities and goals. So hung up the music hat for not very long. I think I was back home for about a year, and ended up hooking up with Gary Grogan in a group he was jamming with, and Dean and Shirley Harrison, and then Gary Grogan, and then I played drums for him.
What were they called?
What were they called? I think they called themselves Lightyear.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was kind of like, oh, okay. But yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, they played a lot of like old blues and southern rock and Skinner and Stevie Ray Vaughan, things like that. And anyway, then that was my first gig as a drummer. And I was with them for a good 3 years, I believe. And we played all over, different things like roundup things, bike. There's like a bike rally we played at, and then of course, we played out in smaller areas. We played for a few Christmas parties.
Yeah.
That's that sort of thing. A lot of fun. But Gary ended up hanging it up for other reasons, and then sadly he passed away a few years back. Mm-hmm. You knew who Gary was.
Yeah.
He was
amazing guy.
He was a good guy. Good guy.
Loved playing music with him.
Yep. And anyway, but later on down the road, I kind of hook up with Dean and Shirley again, and they've got a new drummer, or they got someone that they know that plays drums, and they asked me if I'd like to play guitar, and so sure, and so we kind of reunited and did a couple gigs with them, and it was a lot of fun. Then of course that dissipated, and kind of all had to go our separate ways on that, and then really didn't do anything for a while musically for a couple of years, and then got together with an old high school friend of mine named Tim, and he and I did. It was me, him, and the old drummer, the old pet band drummer that I don't want to refer to.
Okay.
But he's a pedophile.
Oh, let's.
Yeah. He did some bad crimes, and I'd rather not for this. And he comes from a good family. Yeah. And so I don't want to put his name out there and have anybody, you know what I mean?
No.
But
do you have his phone number? No,
I
kid. I'm sorry.
I don't. Anyway, so me and Tim and the drummer, we played up at the Roundup Room lots of times, there in Pilot Rock, and then things kind of happened. Of course, the drummer went to prison, but Tim and I didn't want to give up the playing. We both still love playing together. And so he and I kind of started this two-man band thing where occasionally I might stomp on a bass drum or have just a bass drum snare, hi-hat combo to where I could, do multiple things at once. Mm-hmm. And we played a few gigs, and I think we did a couple weddings, things like that. Never made really anything for money.
Right,
Usually it was playing for drinks.
Yeah, which is almost worth it.
Yes, it is. Locally, I mean, I didn't care. I like performing.
Yeah.
I like doing things like that. It's almost like my way of leaving my mark, Mm-hmm. But and then of course life happens, and Tim and I haven't played together for a while, but when on the occasion we do get together, we usually bust out a song or two just for old time's sake. But and then a couple years back, I ran into an old colleague of mine from the psych hospital. Who I kind of made friends with while I worked there, and then we life happens as always. Anyway, he said anytime you want to jam, come by. We have a drum set and everything. I said sure. So I go over and I jam with him a couple times, and I kind of get the itch again to play. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, you know what? I kind of want to keep doing this, but this drum set sucks. I want to buy my own. And so I buy my own drum set, and the guy that owned that drum set took him out, which was great. So I was playing drums for a while, and then after a while, I just kind of got bored playing drums, you know, because we were playing the same songs. We haven't gigged. We've just been jamming for like 2 years. So I tell you, when we do gig, it's going to be something
It's
epic.
going to be mind-blowing. And people are going to think, man, you're so tight. And you're like, well, yeah.
Yeah.
We've been playing this same song for...
Yeah. But anyway, and then about a year ago, I transitioned to playing guitar again.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had all my old gear from the last band I was with, so I brought that back, and now that's kind of what I'm doing now is vocals and guitar is kind of my main focus with these guys. Nice. We don't even have a name, no name. I'm at some point we will, and I will share that and advertise that, of course.
And what's the music? What's the genre?
Blues.
Blues. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's because Justin, the lead guitarist, he's very much blues.
Mm-hmm.
That's that, and he could play that anything blues. He knows it.
Yeah.
And that's what he's comfortable playing. And when we started, he was the lead guitarist, and I could play, drums and blues go together very good.
Yeah.
It's not hard to be a blues drummer.
Right.
And so when I transitioned to guitar, that's just kind of the direction we were going. But of course, I come from a more rock and heavy metal background, so it's kind of like it's blues. You can, it's definitely got the blues roots to it, but it has a heavier edge to it at times.
Right on. So, and you want to touch on your gear a little bit? Spend a few minutes talking about what you got, all your stuff.
On my gear? Yeah, sure. So I'll start with my drum set it's a Ludwig John Bonham signature set with the one rack tom, 2 floor toms, 26-inch bass drum, which is huge and a pain in the ass to find heads for. And then for the hardware, everything I've got is, except for the pedal, all the hardware is Ludwig hardware. Zildjian cymbals, PDP pedal. I use a double pedal because I like to play metal when I can. Double pedal for metal.
Yeah.
So yeah, nice tractor seat throne. Every once in a while I'll hook up the cowbell. But yeah, usually just keep it pretty simple on the cymbals. Just a nice warm ride, and then
Could you do the imitation for us here?
What?
Need more cowbell?
Out of fever, and the only cure is more cowbell. That was a bad one.
Well, another one of your hobbies is imitation. So
yeah.
We'll do that in another episode. Sorry. So your drums are badass.
Yeah, drums are nice. I have a splash, crash, and a ride, and then I'll occasionally throw in a cowbell. But I'll either have it connected to my snare or I'll hook it up to a separate pedal next to my hi-hat. I like to play a lot. I like to play a lot of 6/8 timing. I believe that's probably where I feel most creative for some reason. Playing metal, it's just all about speed and timing and dexterity. But playing 6/8, it just there's a little challenge to it. Make sure you don't, you keep that timing right and don't, move over to 3/4 or something like that, or throw it off. But anyway, that's my drums. For my guitars, I've got several. I have a Art and Lou 3 folk cedar that I found in a storage unit. I love it. It's blue, and it's just a nice little camper guitar. It's got great tone.
Quick backstory: your family has
my family owns some storage units, and sometimes when people don't pay their bill, we have to go in and clean them out.
Right.
Most of the time it's trash, but every once in a while you come across something like a new guitar or paraphernalia or porn.
Okay.
But anyway, so I have the Art and Lou 3, and then I have my Ibanez 12-string guitar that my mom got me for Christmas when I was, I think, 17. But yeah, that's a cool instrument. 12 strings are. It's just a pain in the ass to tune. And so, and then I have my granddad's guitar. It's a Martin Parlor. I can't remember the model, but it's a 1954. It's like a folk guitar, about the same size as the Art and Lou 3. And then I've got for electrics, I've got my Ibanez Iceman, modded out with rail hammer humbucking pickups. So it's a screamer.
Yeah.
And then I've got my LTD EC 1000 Deluxe with the Evertune bridge that is absolutely gorgeous.
It's a mouthful, yeah. I've seen it. It's beautiful.
And it plays so nice. I love that guitar. For sound right now, for the jam spot, I've got a Line 6 Spider 2 150 watt digital head going through a 412 Behringer cap. So I've got plenty of sound. I'd like to switch it up and go with like a tube combo, like a Fender DeVille or a Fender Blues Master or whatever. But that's down the road.
Yeah,
that's down the road. And then for home, I've got a little Marshall MG15 combo amp that's really nice for what I like to do.
Yeah, just hanging out.
And then of course I've got my Cajon box drums.
That's right, Cajon. Got 2 of them. They're really cool.
Yep.
So will this band? Do you think? Do you guys have you yet to say maybe a time frame like, hey, you guys, let's try to do a gig this summer?
Justin and I have talked about it, but we've never really set a real anything final. Like we've talked like, yeah, we should really start talking like, okay, we should plan on playing at this festival or plan at trying to get in during this time frame or something like that or something.
Yeah.
But it just kind of never comes to fruition. But I think it's coming. We're on the cusp of something, I feel like.
Do you think that you guys are, you obviously must feel like you're ready then. What's the good enough, I think we could do like a dive bar or something and probably get by. There's still, because we're trying to build a catalog of songs so we can gig. You know what I mean? Right.
And
that takes time.
It really does, especially some of the songs we're trying to do. It's for some people, it's easy to learn. For others, it's hard.
That's right.
Everybody learns at a different speed, and and there's times where I struggle because I was so used to playing drums that going from there to playing rhythm guitar, and I'm wanting to do something percussive, and it's like, I can't do that. I need to just sit back and let it ring through or arpeggiate it or something.
Yeah.
But
man, that's a big word, arpeggiate.
Yeah, it is. Word of the day.
Arpeggiate. So, and right now, that's you just kind of in a holding pattern. Then you guys are building your catalog, and you're
I'd say so. We're just building our catalog, figuring out where we want to go with it.
Last concert you went to?
The last concert I went to?
Yeah.
Tool.
How long ago was that?
March 11th, 2020.
Best 1980s rapper concert you've ever been to?
Vanilla Ice.
Hands down.
That was fantastic.
Okay. In your phone, since we all keep our music in our phone.
Yes.
What's the one song that you normally wouldn't want everybody else to know that you have in your mix?
It's a song by the singer Sia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the song Rubber Band, Elastic Heart. It's
Can you give a bar of it?
No, because she's got a very
copyright.
Yeah, I don't want to jump into any copyrights.
Good point.
But it's just all of her songs are great. She's kind of a pop singer from Australia, but this one song, it's just the vocals and the chords and the harmonies in it. It's just haunting.
Is she the one that was dating Shia LaBeouf?
I don't know, but he was in a couple of her music videos.
I think they did date for a while. She said he was abusive. I don't know.
Maybe.
You got to keep up on that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
It makes the world go round.
But yeah, that or I really, there's really nothing. Someone's like, "Did you listen to Sia?" I'd be like, "Yeah."
Yeah. You like a little bit of everything, don't you?
I really, there's stuff that I will absolutely not listen to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've heard you drop a few names.
Yeah. The Beatles.
Yeah.
And
that's brave. It's brave to come out and say that.
Beatle maniacs or whatever they like to call it. They're fans. I mean, no disrespect.
Right,
I don't like the Beatles.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. I don't buy into it. I don't think it's good.
Yeah.
You know, I'd say the same thing to fans of Nirvana.
Send emails to, and actually that is a good segue. I'd like you to touch real quick, just because we're coming down towards the end here, and I want to get everything in that I want to ask you. I want you to talk a little bit about your podcast.
Oh,
and just tell me a little bit about it. And
yeah, so I host Words of Wisdom and Other Delicacies.
Where can you find that at? What platforms?
Let's see, what we can find on Spotify is a big one. I believe we are on Apple iTunes now, right?
Apple Podcast.
Apple Podcast. Hell yes, we're on the big time. iHeartRadio, Google Podcast.
So the big ones.
Yeah, I mean, it basically where you would want to go listen to a podcast. You can go hear my annoying voice and bad humor. What is your themes? Is it just mixture? What's your... Yeah, it varies, dude. I mean, you know me well enough to know how weird I am. It changes. I might, and I've done it like every episode so far, where I'll be like, okay, today we're going to talk about X, Y, and Z. Well, I'll completely leave out Y and add N and M in there too. That's what's fun about doing podcasts. Yeah. So I hope you know I think I'm up to 42 followers on the Instagram page. I hope my listeners, you know, don't get upset if I don't touch. Like I think last episode I was going to talk about Area 51 as part of it, and I never even mentioned Area 51. So yeah, you know, but I think I talked about something else in detail instead. No, so, it's all good. It's my mind. You can't make everybody happy in this whirlwind of success we've been having with 30 likes. I mean, you know, what are we up to? Like $1.85? 87. $1.87. You nailed it. Nice. You know, so and then they'll probably tax me $1,500 for it. And no, that's cool. I hope everybody goes and listens to your podcast. Thank you. Yeah, and you know, you can also shoot me an email. I love suggestions, or if you want to like start some banter, I would love that too. But you can email me at magus, MAGUS _ wow, WOW at yahoo.com. Okay. And nice. And you're on Instagram. I'm on Instagram, The Wizard's Words. And Spreaker is your host for the podcast. Yeah, Spreaker is the host. They distribute to all of those other ones. Yeah, for sure. And people can get the app. It's free. You don't have to pay for anything. And with Spreaker, or listen to it on your Apple account or Spotify. Yeah, exactly. And you know, and just give it a listen to. There might be something that I talk about that maybe you're into as well. I mean, I'm into a lot of stuff. I mean, that's again an understatement. You know, that there's a lot of things that I find interesting and fun. So yeah. Well, I know I've actually been on your podcast a few times, and this is the first time I've had you on. I was kind of saving you in case I run out of people, and I've always got you in my back pocket, and I thought that'd be perfect. You know what I mean? I can always, at least I have Joe to bail me out when the ratings go down. Ratings go down. Yeah, no, I enjoy the hell out of this, man. I have a lot to talk about. My mind goes a million miles a minute, and it's kind of nice having this platform to share my obscure thoughts. It is. It's fun. All right, man. Well, thanks a lot for being on tonight. As for me, that's a wrap. We's all done, folks. Be good to yourself and each other, and keep your nose clean if it takes both sleeves. Say nice things about me and Joe, because we are gone. Bye, Joe. Bye-bye. Stay frosty. I'm a monster truck big bag, and you're an 85 Hyundai. I'm a monster truck big bag, and you're an 85 Hyundai. I'm gonna roll all over you, and it ain't gonna be a fun day.